Prime Minister Netanyahu talked again with President Biden on the situation here. We are joined now by IDF Reserve Major General Gadi Shamni, former commander of the IDF Central Command and a member of Commanders for Israel's Security. Thanks for being with us here. It appears in the last day or two, at least, the talk has turned increasingly to the prospects for some sort of arranged ceasefire here. What can you tell us about how soon that might happen and what you think the conditions might be this time?
Well, I think that the IDF needs a little bit more time. I would say that 2 or 3 days would be good in order to create the effect that the IDF is willing to create in order to reestablish deterrence that was severely damaged in the last 7 years because of a very problematic Israeli policy towards Hamas in Gaza. So IDF has a lot of a very well-structured plan that he's working according to. They demonstrate very, excellent capabilities, good capabilities to connect between intelligence and very precise fire, minimizing uninvolved fatalities, and I think that we still need 2 or 3 more days, which we will probably have.
But is that a double-edged sword? A couple more days. That we understand the surgical strikes are achieving tactical victories on the ground, but that doesn't appear to be what's more and more perceived as the winning equation here now. The strategy of international perception, or even just on the ground local perception here of the situation. Will that be harmed by another couple days of Israeli airstrikes that potentially come with additional casualties on the ground? Is there more to gain or potentially lose by prolonging the situation?
Well, you have to understand that. We all have to understand that. That's not a regular exchange of fires, as it was in the past. Hamas actually declared war on Israel, and they did it because the Israeli deterrence was in its lowest point ever in our relationship with Hamas because of the Israeli policy in the last 7 years. And we have to reestablish this deterrence in order to gain the longest period of quiet and hopefully reach some kind of settlement and agreement with Gaza and by opening the channel of discussion with Abu Mazen too. So it will not happen unless the leadership of Hamas will be convinced that they miscalculated, that they did a big mistake opening fire in the middle of the Jerusalem Day, which is one of the most meaningful days for Israelis.
On that note here, and looking at the greater arena here, it appears one of the strategic victories for Hamas is igniting the passions of the West Bank, of Israeli Arabs, for that matter here. As the former head of the Central Command here, you know that arena well, dealing with unrest in the West Bank. How dangerous of a prospect is that Hamas is now calling for terror attacks, for more activity?
Well, I think that, the job will not be completed unless the IDF and the Israeli police will not take care of the Hamas infrastructure in East Jerusalem and in the West Bank. But just notice something, you can see that in the last few days, the West Bank is the most quiet place. And why is that? Because of the fact that Abu Mazen and his security organizations understand the threat of Hamas. For them, it's an existential threat, and they are suppressing Hamas activities. So there are demonstrations here and there, and the Palestinian Authority enables them to to do something, in order to pay the sleep tax. But I don't think that if we collaborate in the right way with the Palestinian Authority and with the security organization of the Palestinian Authority, I think that we can maintain the situation in the West Bank, not calm, but I don't see a chance. It might change. I mean, everything might change. But right now, I don't see an interest of the people in the West Bank to start something that will, for sure, damage their lives, their economy, and people want to live. People want to live in quiet, go to work, bring.
While I have you,
food for the children.
I want to get your thoughts again on some of the military aspect of what we're seeing play out with Hamas in this conflict right now. What's standing out to you as how their capabilities have improved or evolved, and certainly in terms of the sheer amount of their rocket arsenal, the size of their arsenal? Does that stand out to you?
Can you repeat your question? I couldn't hear. There was a bad connection.
Sure. In terms of wondering what stands out to you, what's caught your attention in this round of fighting with Hamas in terms of their enhanced capabilities in Gaza now, the sheer amount of rockets they have, their ability to launch large volleys into Israel. What's catching your attention?
Well, Hamas has a lot of rockets, and they can continue launching rockets for weeks. That's not the point. We have a very good defense system. The Iron Dome is doing a great job. It's not 100%, but it's doing a great job. And the way that the Israeli public behaves with the Home Front Command regulations and orders. So altogether, I think that's not the point. Hamas can launch rockets. And they will be able to do it even if this conflict will continue for a month from now. But the real impact that will be inflicted on Hamas will be at the day after, when they will come out of their bunkers and from the tunnels and from their hiding locations and see and look at the damage that they inflicted themselves by declaring war against Israel. It will affect the population in Gaza. It will affect the leadership of Hamas, and it will probably give us enough time. For that, we need some more time. I think that the IDF is approaching the point that this effect will be achieved. I don't think that we are there yet, but as I said, 2-3 more days will be sufficient as I see it, and Israel can decide that we stop shooting, and if Hamas wants to go on, I don't think that it's something that they will prefer. I'm
Major
sure
General
Israel.
Gadi Shamni, thanks for being with us.